Hi, homeschool friends, welcome back. This is our last unit on taking care of you. And give me a moment, I'm going to share my slides. So far in our course, we have talked about record keeping. We've talked about why you want to homeschool and different approaches that people use. We've talked about creating learning profiles for your kids, and we've talked about how you actually implement a plan to homeschool. So just to recap, we've talked about making a plan, structuring your time and space, integrating school with life. That's kind of important because in a home environment, you have the opportunity to make learning happen as you do life. And if you separate it into compartmentalized boxes, sometimes it looks more institutional and like you're bringing school to home. Get your kids involved. In one of the lessons I talked about moving is very important. Get your kids to do moving activities. Let them help you do the daily life tasks. Teach them how to cook and let them make dinner. Instead of buying flashcards, make your flashcards. By the way, that's one of the reasons why I go through a ton of index cards, because I want kids to help me make the things that are going to help them do learning. But most importantly, make time for you. We've talked about juggling multiple skills. Can you juggle it all? The answer to that is most of the time. Sometimes you're going to struggle. Sometimes you're going to fall flat on your face. And that's okay. That's all part of learning. And learning in a homeschool is different than institutional schooling. So you can do this. Some days you're going to wonder, why am I doing this? This is partly why we've walked through all these steps. So you can go back and say, oh yeah, that's why. Relax and enjoy the homeschool life. And you may be wondering, Sue, how, with all this juggling and all these things to remember, can I relax and enjoy a homeschool life? Well, this is the first step in doing that. Remind yourself that you are an amazing human being. You are smart, you are creative. Obviously, you're a risk taker. You're stepping outside the box to try something that most people would not even think about. But you've got a strong motivation for it because you want to make the best educational experience for your kids. So, as you have multiple jobs, they equal more than a full-time position. You're a mom or dad, you're a parent. You're also a CEO. You're like the superintendent of a school district. You've got to take care of the finances, the fundraising, running the whole thing. A lot of us have home-based businesses, so we actually are an owner or a CEO of a business too. You're the principal, you're the teacher, the coordinator, the manager, the nurse, chef, personal trainer, and so much more. Unlike a school teacher, though, you don't have a substitute. You are it. So it's essential that you take care of yourself. So that's what we're going to talk about in this lesson. And I want you to go back to the 5 developmental domains that we talked about at the beginning of the learning profile section. I told you then that the developmental domains aren't just for preschool, because preschools often talk about those developmental domains, but the domains are those areas of development that span throughout the lifespan. So I want you to go back and look at them now for you. We could have moved this to the beginning of the whole course, and maybe we should have, but I purposely left it for the end because I want to leave you on the note that you need to take care of yourself. If you want your homeschooling journey to last for a long time and you want it to actually work, you must take care of yourself. So here's the 5 domains. By the way, this is in the back of your learning plan success kit, and you can print it out just write it on a spiral notebook piece of paper or make it into a poster, whatever you want to do. So first, look at your own personal health. When I'm going to switch here. When our kids were in high school, I was having these weird things where I would just fall asleep in the middle of the morning. I'd had a good night's rest, but I just could not stay awake. It interrupted our homeschool quite a bit. And, we'd be right in the middle of finishing our morning meeting and working on, I believe it was literature. We were doing read aloud. I don't remember, but I would just fall asleep. Come to find out, I had an autoimmune disorder that was flaring, and I didn't know what it was. Doctors didn't know what it was. And so I just want you to know that your own personal health is important. And sometimes our health issues are going to impact our homeschool. That doesn't mean you're not being successful. It doesn't mean that you need to quit. Sometimes it might, for the benefit of your kids. In our case, my kids had goals that they were working on and things that they wanted to achieve. And it was above and beyond my health issues. They were independent enough learners that we were able to adjust and take care of their learning, but it certainly impacted our homeschool. So be honest with yourself. What health issues do you need to deal with and address in yourself so that you've got the energy and stamina to keep going? All right, I'm going back to the slides here. But what do you want to learn? Right now, you're learning about how to be a homeschool parent, and maybe you want to keep going. I can teach you all kinds of things about how learning happens, how the brain processes information, and how memory works, how to be a better teacher, some techniques that make things more effective and more efficient. What do you need for your social support? And this, I want to encourage you, find this social support somewhere locally or somewhere where you have a relationship with a person that is supportive, because a lot of times family or closer friends don't necessarily understand the homeschool culture. They don't understand why you're going to do this, and their support isn't that supportive. Find somebody that you trust, find somebody that you can confide in. And I'm going to suggest that that is not the Unique Learners community or myself. Find a friend. If it's locally, that's the best. And sometimes that social support could be just once a month with a few moms in a homeschool circle going out for a movie or dinner, or meeting at a park and letting your kids play and sitting around and just talking about whatever. But it gives you an opportunity to be with other people who are supportive of what you're doing. Emotional support is extremely important. I'm going to stop the share here for a second, and I want to talk about, I think I've mentioned in previous lessons that I have social anxiety disorder. Make sure that you're taking care of your own emotional support. For me, I'm an introvert. I didn't need a whole lot of social support. I was already an educator, and I didn't need a whole lot of support in how to do the teaching and organizing of a homeschool. What I needed was emotional support. And that can look like, it could be your spouse who just helps you along emotionally and says, hey, you look like you're having an off day. Maybe I'll take the kids to ice cream for you and give you a little bit of time alone. Your emotional support could be that social support. Maybe that's all you need, is just somebody to say, I'm with you. I gotcha. It's okay. It could also be more formal. And if you struggle with any kind of emotional issues, I highly recommend make sure that you're taking care of you, even if that means a formal counselor or someone who can give you strategies for coping with whatever you're dealing with. Please don't isolate yourself. Being a homeschool is often isolating as it is, but you need to have that emotional support too. All right, I'm going back to our slides here. And the last one is my own spiritual health. I want to let you know that I'm a Christian, and my goal isn't necessarily to go to church all the time. I do that anyway. For my spiritual health, I need to spend more time reading the Bible. You may not be a Christian. That's okay. I'll help you. I'm not advocating that your homeschool needs to be a Christian-based homeschool. People homeschool for all kinds of reasons. Trust me. I know. There's every walk of life, every race, every ethnicity, every worldview. There's homeschoolers. So I just want to encourage you. Your spiritual health is important, regardless of your worldview. If you are a Christian, there's plenty of support for that. And if you're not a Christian and you want to know more about my faith journey or what the Bible says about training children or anything, you're welcome to message me. I'm happy to share my story and what my faith looks like, but your spiritual journey is your journey too. So I'm happy to respect that and help you along the way if you need, regardless of what your worldview is. All right, I'm going back to our slides here, and we've just got a couple more. So here's some ideas for taking care of yourself and for setting goals for yourself. One is get the right amount and types of food, rest, and exercise. I can't tell you enough how much food, rest, and exercise makes a difference in your own outlook on the day, on how you have patience to deal with your kids, and how you are able to stay energized. So it may seem like a no-brainer, but it really is hard to keep that balance and keep it focused, not just on the kids, but on yourself as well. Set up to keep a journal. I used to do this when my kids were younger, and I'd write down things that worked, things that didn't work. As I've gotten older, I make a lot of lists. I don't write it in journal form anymore, but I keep a lot of lists. Maintain a relationship with your significant other. Schedule in date nights if you have to, especially if your kids are really little. It's really hard to get a babysitter and somebody that you trust to take care of your kids. But for your own personal relationships, have a date night, have an outing where you are away from kids for even just an hour. Balance your time and attention between the siblings, especially if you have a kid who has significant special needs, but any kind of unique learner often requires more attention than those kids who are neurotypical. So make sure that you're balancing your time between all the kids. Maintain your spiritual well-being, maintain adult friendships, acquire your own homeschool support. Now, your homeschool support may be different from your social support and your emotional support. That's okay. However, it could be the same. We had a pretty awesome group of about 5 families in our homeschool circle, and we truly were a homeschool support to each other, a spiritual support to each other, and a social support for each other. We had a beautiful time with our kids growing up. It takes effort, though, to find those connections. So I encourage you, do that for yourself. Plan ahead. When are you going to do lesson planning and record keeping? For me, it made so much more sense to have that overarching big picture plan ahead of time. Set up my record keeping system ahead of time. And then I just went through the process during the year, and I did very little planning. I still do very little planning during the school year. But others want something more traditional and they prefer to plan by the week or the month. Do whatever works for you. All right, managing household tasks, really and truly, one of those issues is getting the kids to help. Teaching them how to do chores it may sound like more work to teach them, but in the long run, they are going to be more prepared to be adults and live independently. And you are going to have the help needed to keep up on those household chores. The other thing that I've done that helps to keep from being overwhelmed is I've put cleaning supplies wherever I need to clean. So I've got toilet bowl cleaner next to in a cabinet next to every toilet. I don't have to carry it around the house. It's right there. So if I see that a bathroom needs cleaning, I just do it right then and there as I'm using the bathroom. So I don't actually go from day to day thinking, okay, this is clean bathroom day, or this is mop the floor day. I do it as it needs, but I've got the supplies right there handy for when I need to do it. So what happens on the days when you're sick? Maybe think about that ahead of time. Do you have a system where the kids can have something independent to do other than just watch TV? And maybe that is your plan. Maybe that's the special day when they watch TV because you're sick. I don't know what your plan is going to be, but think about that ahead of time. What do you want to learn for yourself? And how will you handle working if you have a job? That's another big conversation topic that homeschool families ask is, how am I going to get my work done when I'm trying to homeschool? I can say that each situation is unique on that. So if you need help brainstorming and thinking through how you're going to do homeschool and have a job, that might be something you could private message me about, or bring it up in the Unique Learners community, and other people can tell you what they've done. All right, so what comes next? Now that we're done with our first course and you've got a plan, you have it. So now what? So just start. It might not be smooth. It will be exciting as curriculum starts to arrive or manipulatives start to arrive. Open them up. Make a big deal of opening the boxes. It's so exciting. It's like Christmas. That's one of those things that gets our kids excited about learning, is getting to see that time when it arrives. In schools, they don't see that. All they see is a textbook sitting on their desk, and they've got to write their name in the front cover, or everything's handed to them. Let your kids in on the fun stuff ahead of time. Fumble around. Those horrible days when nothing seems to be going right is all part of the learning process too. How are we going to adjust? How are we going to make it better and improve? Keep learning about your child, how they learn, how to teach them better. Find the social connections that all of you need, your kids and yourself included. And know that now that you've got a plan, just let it happen. Relax, keep it simple. And I'm going to move away from the screen here. In a previous lesson, I talked about something called twaddle. I don't know why, that's my word of the day, I guess. But twaddle is that unnecessary things and activities that might seem fun and they're going to make your kids love learning, but they end up taking you a lot of time, and they may be cute and beautiful, and I call it the shiny object syndrome. You're off doing this to make things better, but it really doesn't enhance your homeschool. It takes time away from your kids. It takes time away from having them be involved. Try to eliminate the twaddle. Really, it will save you so much time because you've got enough to juggle as it is. And twaddle, those unnecessary shiny object activities, just take up more time and make you feel busier than you really need to be. So find the support you need, join local or social media groups, join Unique Learners as a member, send me private messages if you want. I'm happy to direct you and help you as much as I can. And I hope that you have a marvelous year homeschooling. Enjoy, just relax and enjoy your kids. Learning happens anyway, and you've got a plan. So, and you've got support. All right. So thank you for joining this first course. I hope it's been helpful, and I wish you all the best in your homeschooling endeavor. All right. Bye, friends, for now, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the future. Bye.